They told you to have a plan B. They told you to be reasonable. They told you to have something to fall back on because they've already accepted that failure is likely. They want you to pad your landing when you were born to fly. But here's the truth. Nobody dares to say out loud. Every ounce of security you cling to is one more chain around your potential. The moment you keep the door half open for retreat, you've already given up half your fire. And fire, not comfort, is the seed of greatness. Look around you. Every monument built, every skyscraper that cuts into the sky, every revolution that rewrote history, it came from someone who decided, this is it. No exit, no fallback. Just forward. When Cortez landed with his men in the New World, he gave an order that echoed through time, burn the ships. Because when you destroy the way back, your only option is to conquer. That's what commitment looks like when it's no longer romantic, it's do or die. Think of Edison, working through 10,000 failed prototypes to give us the light bulb. Think of Disney, bankrupt and laughed out of Hollywood, sketching a mouse on scraps of paper while sleeping in a studio closet. Do you think they had a backup plan? No, they had a burning vision so fierce that even failure became fuel. What if the thing holding you back isn't a lack of talent, but a surplus of escape routes? You keep dipping your toes in the water when you were meant to dive head first. You keep applying for jobs while secretly dreaming of building an empire. You keep staying in relationships that feel safe, even when your soul is screaming for freedom. You say you want greatness, but you're dating convenience. The world has lied to you. They told you comfort is king. But kings don't come from comfort. They come from crucibles. There will come a moment, if it hasn't already, when life will test you. Not softly, not gently. It will rip the ground from under you and ask, now what? And in that moment, the ones who built escape hatches will crawl back into the shadows. But the few who burned the backup plan, they'll rise. Bleeding maybe, but burning still. This isn't about recklessness. This is about responsibility to your calling, to your one life, to the divine spark inside you. It's about going all in, because half-hearted efforts create half-lived lives. And you weren't made for half of anything. You were made to rise like Lincoln, who failed in business, lost elections, suffered breakdowns, and still became the soul of a divided nation. You were made to persist, like Helen Keller, who was locked in silence and darkness, yet became a voice for millions. You were made to lead like Martin Luther King Jr., who stared down death and kept walking toward the dream. None of them had an escape hatch. They had a mission. They had a reason. And when the walls closed in, that reason kept them alive. So the question is, what's your reason? What's the thing you would trade sleep for? What's the vision so real you taste it when you close your eyes? If it doesn't make you tremble, it's not big enough. Greatness isn't given, it's taken. And it's taken by those who are willing to risk comfort, security, and approval. You can't build a legacy with one hand holding onto a safety net. You can't reach the summit while glancing backward at base camp. You can't create miracles with a maybe. You were not born to blend in. You were not born to be well adjusted to a sick society. You were not born to die with a quiet heart. But the clock is ticking. Right now, every excuse you make is another heartbeat lost. Every one day is a thief in disguise. Do you think Carnegie waited for a guarantee before he built steel into an empire? Do you think Ford asked permission to reshape how the world moves? They didn't just believe in progress, they embodied it. They didn't tiptoe, they charged. It's not that they were fearless. It's that their purpose was louder than their fear. And you right now have a choice. You can keep playing small, letting the world define what's possible for you. Or you can step into the fire and become who you were meant to be. Not someday, not after you feel ready. Now, because greatness isn't found in the future. It's forged in the decision you make today, the decision to stop running, stop stalling, stop rehearsing for a life you're not living. And start. Start before you're ready. Start while you're scared. Start when the voice in your head says, but what if I fail? Because here's the truth. You will fail. You will fall. You will bleed. But you will not break unless you give yourself permission to. This is the part they don't tell you. Winners fail too, but they fail forward. They fail with force. They fail knowing there is no plan B, and that's exactly why they rise. Burn the backup plan, not because it's noble, but because it's necessary. Because if you're serious about becoming the person you say you want to be, the backup plan is the enemy. Burn it. Stand in the ashes. And build your masterpiece with what remains. You see, the backup plan is seductive. It whispers comfort while silently draining your courage. It gives you the illusion of safety while robbing you of certainty. Because no one becomes legendary by standing with one foot in the fire and the other in the shadows. Look around at the people you admire, the builders, the artists, the pioneers. They weren't superhuman. They weren't chosen. They were simply those who made a terrifying decision. I will make this work, or I will fall trying, but I will not live in limbo. And that's the truth most people never taste. The power that comes when there's nothing left to lose, when the only path is forward, and fear is no longer a wall but fuel. That's when the real work begins. That's when your mind sharpens like a blade. That's when creativity pours from places you didn't know existed. Because necessity isn't just the mother of invention, it's the mother of transformation. You're not meant to be a prisoner of preparation. You're meant to act, to move, to commit. The bridge you're standing on, waiting for signs, for luck, for perfection, that bridge was never built to hold you. It's time to jump. It's time to break the inertia of your life with one irreversible act of devotion. Devotion to your calling, to your fire, to the thing inside you that's too sacred to be silenced. Do you think Steve Jobs was building an empire with a contingency plan? Do you think Elon Musk, after selling PayPal, took his billions and made safe investments? No, he bet it all on SpaceX and Tesla. He failed. He went broke. He slept on the factory floor. And he kept going. Why? Because vision is not a luxury, it's a responsibility. And some people decide to carry it even when it crushes them. That's what burning the backup plan does. It strips away the noise. It exposes your limits, and it dares you to overcome them. Because here's the truth. You don't need a guarantee, you need a reason. The man who wakes up with a guarantee will take his time. The man who wakes up with nothing to fall back on will create his future with his own hands. And it's not about ego. It's not about proving anything to the world. It's about finally proving something to yourself, that when the comfort is gone, the real you shows up. The version of you that doesn't fold when it gets hard. The version of you that doesn't chase likes, trends, or validation. The version of you that creates, that builds, that leads, even when no one claps. You were not made to survive. You were made to become. To shape your world, not beg for a place in someone else's. But becoming is brutal. It's lonely. It's sleepless nights and silent mornings. It's choosing to keep moving when no one understands what you're building. And that's why most never make it. Because they never burn the plan B. They always have a way back. A quiet retreat into mediocrity. But if you're still listening to this, I know you're different. I know there's something inside you that's tired of waiting. Tired of watching life from the sidelines. Tired of pretending you're okay with almost. Almost chasing the dream. Almost launching the idea. Almost leaving the job. Almost saying what you mean. Almost living. But almost is the graveyard of the brave. And the only way out is fire. Let it burn. Let the fear burn. Let the excuses burn. Let the identity you built around safety burn. And when the smoke clears, what's left is real. Because clarity comes in the fire. Conviction comes in the fire. Purpose comes when there's nowhere else to go but forward. They'll call you crazy. They'll say you're reckless. They'll tell you it's too risky. But history remembers the ones who were once called foolish, and later called genius. No one remembers the man who almost started the business, No one quotes the woman who almost wrote the book. No statues are built for the ones who played it safe. But you don't want statues. You want to feel alive. You want to lay your head down at night and know, I gave everything. Not half, not most, everything. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you removed the safety net? If you stopped asking, what if I fall? And started asking, what if I fly? What if you woke up tomorrow and the only option was to move forward? How would you think? How would you act? What would you stop postponing? The tragedy is not in failing. It's in never knowing who you could have been, because you clung too tightly to what made you feel safe. But you are not here to live a life of quiet desperation. You are here to set fire to the lie that says, this is all there is. You are here to declare, without apology, I will either succeed or I will go down swinging, but I will not live this half-life another day. Burn the backup plan, not to impress, not to intimidate, but to liberate. This is the moment you choose. Not tomorrow, not after one more YouTube video. Now. Because if you don't choose now, the world will choose for you. And the world always chooses average. Choose to step into your edge. Choose the discomfort of growth over the illusion of ease. Choose the fire. Because the fire doesn't destroy the real you, it reveals it. Look at your hands. The world taught you to use them to hold on to security, to predictability, to what's known. But what if you use them to let go? What if, instead of clinging to your safety net, you set it ablaze and built something from the ashes? The most powerful step in your life may not be the one that moves you forward. It may be the one where you burn the way back. You don't need a bigger plan. You need a deeper decision. Because power doesn't live in perfection. It lives in the place where there's no return, no rescue, no rehearsals left. Just you and the raw truth of who you're willing to become. Think of the Wright brothers. Two bicycle mechanics with no formal education in aeronautics. And yet they dared to believe man could fly. Not because they had proof, but because they had conviction. They didn't build a backup career. They didn't hedge their lives. They gambled everything on the sky. And history opened its arms to them not because they played it safe, but because they bet it all on a future no one else could see. That's the spirit we've buried in modern times. We've traded boldness for balance, passion for productivity, conviction for contingency. We idolize comfort and call it success. But comfort never changes the world. If you want to change yours or anyone else's, you must be willing to make the world uncomfortable with how relentless you are. And that doesn't mean you'll feel brave. It means you'll feel exposed, naked, alone. Like every cell in your body is screaming for the easy way out. But the soul inside you is whispering, keep going. That whisper, that's your higher self. That's your future self. That's the voice that's lived through the fire, through the fear, through the failure, and is telling you now, it's worth it. Because no matter how high you aim, no matter how great the vision, no matter how wild the dream, you will be tested. The resistance will come. The doubt will rise. The world will push back. But that's when you must become immovable. Not because you have proof that it will all work out, but because you've made a sacred decision. You're not going back. The person you used to be? Gone. The life you used to tolerate? Over. The plan B you used to coddle? Burned. Because something in you has awakened. Something that no longer accepts a life of muted dreams and quiet compromise. Something that refuses to die with your potential still inside you. And here's what most people don't realize. Discipline becomes destiny when there is no escape. When you know there's no soft landing, you rise differently. You speak differently. You move like someone who doesn't have time to waste because you don't. This is your season of becoming. Not in theory, in action. You become by showing up when you don't feel ready. By executing when it's not convenient. by putting your name on the line when no one's clapping, by doing the work no one sees, so one day they'll see what no one thought was possible. Because purpose doesn't reveal itself all at once. It reveals itself in motion, in blood and sweat and focus, in relentless effort, when no reward is guaranteed. And maybe that's the secret no one wants to hear. You're not meant to find yourself. You're meant to build yourself from grit, from vision, from sacrifice. You're meant to break what was comfortable, to discover what is real. So many wait for permission, for the right time, for more signs. But you, if you've made it this far, you're not waiting anymore. Because you know, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to push you. You are the hero you've been waiting for. And your moment isn't someday. Your moment is here. In the quiet war between your comfort and your calling. In the choice to keep scrolling or to rise, to speak, to build, to act. Will you trade your potential for a paycheck? Will you trade your calling for approval? Will you trade your one short, brilliant life for the illusion of safety? Or will you trade it for something greater? Not a guarantee, not a plan B, but a burning reason why you cannot quit. Because once you've found that, really found it, nothing can stop you. You will become unstoppable not because of what you have, but because of what you've refused to surrender. You've refused to go quietly. You've refused to take the easy exit. You've refused to live on your knees. You stood. You fought. You burned the backup plan. And now, all that's left to do is rise. Great, I'll prepare the final part of the script to bring it all to a powerful, emotionally climactic close. The fire behind you is gone now. There is no way back. And standing there, ash on your shoulders, wind in your face, you finally understand this is what freedom feels like. Not comfort, not ease, but ownership. Ownership of your breath, your choices, your path. Ownership of every scar, every fall, every rise. Because the moment you burned the backup plan, you didn't just destroy an escape route, you destroyed the version of you that needed one. You see, the world doesn't hand crowns to the cautious. It gives them to those who fight with nothing left to lose but their own excuses. And now there is no excuse. No one left to blame. No false story left to hide behind. Just you and the life you're building with your bare hands. Yes, the road ahead is hard. Yes, the climb is steep. But tell me, would you rather suffer in pursuit of the extraordinary or suffocate in the arms of the average? You didn't come this far to tiptoe. You came to tear through the noise, to stop whispering your worth and start roaring it with action. And make no mistake, this life will demand everything from you. Your tears, your faith, your breath, your patience, your hunger. But it will give you something back that can't be measured in dollars, followers, or applause. It will give you yourself. The version of you who does not flinch when tested. The version of you who does not cower when doubted. The version of you who walks into the storm and says, "Let it come. I am not here to survive, I am here to rise." That is who you are. That is who you've always been beneath the layers of fear, hesitation, and conformity. And now, stripped bare with no way back, you are finally in position to meet yourself. The version of you who no longer settles, who no longer asks for permission, who no longer says, "Someday," when you mean now. This version does not entertain mediocrity. It does not chase approval. It does not cling to comfort like a child to a blanket. This version understands that pain is part of the process, that discomfort is the doorway, that the dream doesn't come to the timid, it comes to the one who decides they're ready before they feel it. Because you will never feel fully ready. You will never feel 100% fearless. And that's okay. You don't need perfection. You don't need certainty. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need hunger. You need commitment. You need truth so deep it keeps you moving when the path disappears. And when the night gets quiet and the doubt comes back, whispering old lies, you'll look in the mirror, not for permission, but for remembrance, because you'll see the eyes of someone who made a vow with themselves, not a goal, not a wish, a vow that no matter what, you would not go quietly, you would not settle, you would not look back. You would build the life your soul was made for, or die on that hill with fire in your heart. Because what is the alternative? Living half a life so you can die fully regretful? Wearing a mask every day because the real you scares people? Number, that is not your story. Your story is the one they'll tell at the table. The one that sounds impossible until someone says your name. The one where people say, I don't know how they did it, but they did. You are the exception. You are the revolt. You are the line in your bloodline that says, it ends with me. The fear ends. The playing small ends. The excuses end. And the legacy begins. Because the greatest gift you give this world is not your obedience, it's your defiance. Your defiance of small thinking, of invisible chains, of invisible ceilings. You are not here to survive the system. You are here to break it with brilliance, with beauty, with boldness. So let them say you're too much. Let them say you've changed. Let them say they don't understand. You weren't born to be understood. You were born to lead. And leaders are never comfortable. They're never casual. They're never popular at first. But they are necessary. And now, you are necessary. Not in some vague poetic sense. In the real blood and bone, the world needs you awake sense. Because the world doesn't change when the brilliant stay hidden. It changes when someone like you decides to set the old script on fire and write a new one. In sweat, in scars, in soul. So let this be your declaration. I will not wait. I will not wish. I will not waste this one life. I will rise. I will risk. I will burn the backup plan and become something no fallback could ever contain. This is not the end. This is the ignition. Now go. Build. Bleed. Shatter the limits. And show the world what it looks like when a soul decides to live all in. No exits. No excuses. No plan B. Just fire.